Now, Uganda is ranked among the top 6 countries in Africa with the highest rates of depressive disorders. Now, Uganda, over 35% of the population, most of the people have mental illnesses, and 15% require treatment. Now, among those, 5.1% are females and 3.6 are males. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we take a deep dive uh, talking about mental illness and some of the causes, which are alcoholism and drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, the man in the chair is a professional at mental health, and tonight, together with me, we are going to be talking and taking, a deep dive and finding out what can we do, what are the causes, how can we even prevent this. My name is Shadrach Kisame, and you are live on the continent's leading intellectual platform, actually the highest platform for solution finding. I'm talking about none other than the desk. Now, thank you so much for all those who keep themselves glued onto U24 television. We trust that every time you watch U24, you are inspired, you're motivated, but above all, you are educated. Now, if it's Wednesday, it's all about the desk, folks. So if you have a child or you're just a youth and you fall into the demographics we just spoke above, you better sit back, relax, bearing forward, or even stand up, because the man in the chair, Gerald, is not someone who has just watched things on TV, but is actually a mental health specialist. Welcome to the show, Mr. Gerald.
Thank you. Brief introduction of myself.
Yeah.
Tembo Gerrald. I'm a psychiatric clinical officer.
Yeah.
I work with Dine Pharmacy and Laboratory in Chijabijo, Kalaji Road, opposite Nampogo Primary School.
Right.
Yeah.
So Gerald, we just saw the statistics. 35% of Ugandans have, depressive disorders or mental illness. To someone who is watching, what is mental illness? Because they may have it and they don't even know what it is.
Okay, to begin with, let me first explain what mental health is.
Okay.
Because most of the people may think that they are mentally health, yet they are not. When we talk about mental health, here we are talking about our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. In brief, here we are talking about how someone is able to cope up with the daily life stresses,
right.
How someone is able to relate with other people, how someone is able to live with other people. But when we go on the other side, so if you find yourself, now I'm just making it brief because I don't want to use scientific words which people will not understand. There are some simple signs and symptoms which we see and we say that this person is going astray. For example, if you find that there is persistent anger outburst, a person...
Persistent anger outburst.
Yes, persistent anger outburst. A person cannot control his anger. A person easily gets angry. A person persistently lacks sleep.
So insomnia is a sign of mental health.
Exactly. Insomnia is a sign. But if it is persistent, if it takes a long time, then there is a time we say that now, in this time now you fall under the diagnostic criteria, then we say that this person has a problem with his mental health. So that's where we come in. Briefly, I'm going to talk about myself and my other colleagues. We are a group of 5 psychiatric clinical officers trying to promote mental health awareness and mental health prevention in Uganda. Briefly, I'll explain. Mental health awareness, here we are trying to look for ways of how to reduce stigma related to mental health illnesses and mental health conditions, using our personal experiences which we have in this field, such that we can help the people of Uganda.
But before you even continue with talking about what you guys are doing with your colleagues, has mental health, all the disorders therein, or the illness itself, has it been given enough attention in Uganda? Do people even care, or we're just so much living in anguish, poverty, that we don't even care about our mental illness anymore. We just want to get money to eat.
Okay, most of the people in Uganda, I'll say that they don't care. Reason being, there is stigma attached to mental illness. For example, like in a family, if there is a person who has mental illness, there are some misconceptions. People will say that that is witchcraft, and other people will say that that family is cursed.
But is witchcraft real?
It's not real.
Okay.
Okay, to me personal as a profession, it's not real, because I know there are some causes of mental illness, and those are now the misconceptions which we want now to remove.
What about cases where people have gone to hospital and they find out that there is nothing that you guys check and this person is okay, but now the person is talking a lot of gibberish?
No, if you come to the hospital and then we do an assessment, we clock you, and of course, with mental illness, it's all about talking. When you talk, I'll know that this person is deviating from the norm. Then I'll know, because if you're there and you're talking with me, as now we are trying to talk, then you see me start diverting from what we are talking, then you know that Gerrald has a problem. So if you come to the hospital, trust me, you cannot come and then we say this one is okay, however much he's talking. However, there are some other cases where people are brought to the hospital forcefully by their families. For example, they want to sell like family properties, and then they say this person is mentally sick, or this person has a problem.
When this person has refused.
Exactly. But still, as professionals, we shall sit with this person and then find out the truth. Then we settle the differences between these two people.
Gerrald, before I go for a quick break, in a scenario like that, and these people are getting a lot of money and they are selling that plot of land, is it possible that the other guys can coerce you to make a fake report? Do we have such? We have such cases.
Yes.
And why? Why are we having such cases?
Yeah, such cases are there. I will say that there are some people, there are some health professionals who don't follow
your ethics.
Yes, people who don't follow the ethics, and there are people who came to this profession just because they are looking for money. They don't want to help. So if you fall in that category, of course, you will corner Eve with the other group, and then you cheat this person. Then just because they have promised you some little money, then you'll make a false report. But trust me, it will backfire.
I'm telling you, backfiring always happens. Let's go for a quick one. The desk takes a break and the desk returns in a moment. And welcome back to this amazing episode of The Desk, where we're actually taking a deep dive into the mental health and all the dynamics there. In the man in the chair is a professional, and we're going to be getting up close and personal with him to find out all their endeavors and whatever they are doing to actually close this gap that has been there. But you can follow this very lovely discussion on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Do that for Shadrach Kisame. If you've not liked my page, you have a minute before we dive deep into this conversation to like my page, Shadrach Kisame, even U24 television. I'll get back to us, and we shall definitely appreciate your feedback. But if it's Wednesday, folks, it's all about the desk. Now I'm still with Gerrald here, Tembo, who is a mental health professional. Now the things he's telling us is not just watch them on TV. Now he's telling us no, he actually went to school and he's actually practicing them. Let's just talk. I'm excited to find out some of the causes. Of camera, you were telling me that drugs and alcoholism is one of those rampant things that stand out. I just want you to take me through, because people may not know whether they're abusing drugs. Like, just paint a picture for us as regards drugs and alcoholism.
Okay, thank you so much. With mental illness, there are many causes of mental illness. But for today, we are going to focus about drugs and alcohol abuse.
Yeah.
You know, in Uganda, it has been proven that the most drug which is being abused is alcohol. And surprisingly or unfortunately, this is done by the youth. Most of the youth abuse these drugs, and more especially alcohol. Now, you see here, when there is a large amount of alcohol which is being taken, it affects the brain functioning, and then they are altering the brain chemicals. For example, now we shall talk about the neurotransmitters. I'm not going to go deep into that. Yeah, but briefly, I think let's go through the causes of why most of the youth are abusing drugs, alcohol, and sort of that. One of them, we shall talk about the gene vulnerability. That is the genetic part of it. You'll find that if parents were drinkers, or if parents were abusing alcohol, let me say that if one of the parents abuses alcohol, twin studies have shown that 25% even the children will be drinkers.
You guys.
Yes, trust me.
Guys, you're not going to put your alcoholism on parents now.
This is research which has been proven, and it says that if both of the parents were drinkers, then 60% chances of the children will also be drinkers. That is one of the point. Then we shall look at unemployment by the youth.
People are depressed.
Yes, most of the youth are unemployed, and just now what to do, they just resort to drugs. We shall look at loneliness. Most of the people are lonely. So
what do you mean loneliness? There's so many boys around, there's so many girls around on the street. You find one guy having four girls, you find one girl having 4 men.
No. I'm not meaning that. Okay, loneliness. Okay, the loneliness here I'm meaning is that now, for example, being abandoned by your close people, and then you find that you are alone, you have no one to share your problems with. So what you do is you resort to drugs. Some other point is this alcohol thing is cheap and available. That is the problem. Alcohol is cheap and easily available. You find 1,000, you get 1,000 you get everywhere you go. It is being advertised on TVs via songs. I hear Simani kombucha, Simani what? They advertise these drinks, and
so that means that the policymakers should put more tax on alcohol so we can reduce some alcoholism. Because the price will go high and people won't be able to access
I'm going to affect people's businesses. But maybe another thing which you shall not leave here is the poor coping skills. Some of the people cannot manage their stresses, or they cannot manage their problems personally, but what they do now is to resort to drugs, is to resort to alcohol, and then they think that maybe after taking, then they will forget their problems. But now they forget that when you take and then you become fresh again, then the problems now become even more, come back more. So in doing so, you find yourself now getting now deep into this problem.
But are these problems justifiable for them to abuse the alcohol?
The problems.
Is it just that these causes are reasonable enough, they are viable enough? No wonder these guys should drink the alcohol. There are better ways of coping.
There are better ways of coping up. So now this is now the reason we are now here.
Okay.
Exactly. This is now the reason we are now here. If you find that you cannot cope up with the daily stresses of life, there are many professionals you can contact and they help you. There are many therapists. There are many psychologists you can contact and they help you. There are many counselors. You can personally call me and then we have a one-on-one talk and then we see how best we can help each other.
But Gerald, is are these things the things you're telling us? Okay, they seem to make sense, but you know, someone may be watching and they're like, those guys, the therapists, just want to create business for themselves. We've been living with these conditions for a long time.
You know, it may be true. Some of them will say that we've drunk alcohol for the past 30 years. But trust me, I'll give you an example. If you take Panadol,
Yeah.
and I take Panadol, you may get side effects of Panadol, and I don't get them. So our brains cannot handle the same amount of alcohol
Yeah.
equally.
Yeah.
Alcohol may affect you and may not affect me.
Yeah.
So if you say that I've been taking it, it's you, but you're not seeing at the other person who is weak at these drugs. So what we are saying is, for example, there are many effects of alcohol. The problem is that we have a short time,
Yeah.
but when we do other episodes,
Yeah.
I'll continue with alcohol and then start telling you much of it. Because there are many effects of alcohol. If you see that these people are taking alcohol, for example, a person who takes alcohol, there is neglect of the family. Some of these people, some of these people are, let me say that some of these people are being taken as examples to our children. But if you become a drunk, sometimes you even become a source of entertainment. When you pass there, some children will say, he has passed. Then you lose respect of yourself. Then there are diseases attached to it. For example, we shall see now the liver cirrhosis. Now to the men, now for example, I know you don't take, but there is even impotence, infertility.
With alcohol.
Yes.
But I know people who take alcohol to have the highest number of children. Our guy was my goodness.
Shadrach, that's what I told you. That's what I told you, that we shall get affected in
differently.
Yes,
Okay.
differently.
Okay.
But statistics and research has proven it that alcohol causes infertility. There are cancers, liver cirrhosis attached to alcohol. There are mental problems. You find that a person has broken down due to alcohol. There are many. For example, we may talk of dementia, alcohol-related dementia. We may talk of alcohol-related psychosis. We may talk of alcohol-related hallucinosis. You start hearing voices. You start getting illusions. For example, you see a stick here, you call it a snake, and out of the blue you start now making noise. There is the withdrawal symptoms of alcohol, which withdrawal symptoms of alcohol, for example, here now we are talking of the tremors, and in due course you find that a person by the way may even develop epilepsy because of alcohol. When we talk about the when we talk about the delirium tremens, these ones causes shaking, and then they bring epileptic fits to the epileptic fits to the abuser. So my brother and everyone watching us outside there, alcohol is not a good drug.
Yeah. Before I go for a quick break, I've always wanted to ask this from a professional. When alcohol companies are advertising, they always stress excessive alcohol is not good for your health.
Yes.
But why is it that the ones that abuse it keep drinking, even when they hear that? Even with cigarettes, they write on the pack, but they keep. What is it? Is it a spirit in alcohol? What is it that keeps drawing them to the same thing? Yet they have even warned you. The guy is saying to you, are telling you, man, things are not as good.
Now, Shadrach, as I told you, we have the indicators. If you become an abuser, there is what we call craving. Yes, there is what we call craving. If you become an abuser, even if you go to the hospital and then they tell you that, you know what, your liver has been damaged, there is that craving that will always come, and it will always force you to go and take this drug. So that's why you see these people still continue taking alcohol. And now then the manufacturers, the manufacturers are scientists. These are chemists who make alcohol. They know that alcohol has a problem. So that's why they say excessive consumption is harmful to your health. They warn you and they tell you, take it at your own risk.
Yes.
Yes, but still for you, because you want now the pleasure in alcohol, you say, no, I'm going to take it. Now, for example, like how you told me, some people will say, I've taken alcohol like for the past 20 years.
Yes.
Nothing has ever happened to me. But these people are now saying it's harmful. But I've never gotten any problem. So that's why you see people keep on taking these drugs, keep on taking these drugs. However much they see people dying of these drugs, however much a person loses a job because of alcohol, still they will continue taking.
I'm telling you, let's go for a quick one. When we return, we shall be, in the last segment talking about, maybe you bring us up close and personal with some of the other drugs that people are abusing and they don't even have an idea. Let's go for a break. We are returning shortly. All right, welcome back. You're still on this amazing episode of The Desk, where we're talking about something that is really, really important and peculiar in nature. It's very sensitive because you may lose a lot of people if you talk about it over and over again. But it is a necessity that we bring it up to you, because The Desk, we are the continent's leading intellectual platform, but also a solution finding platform. Now today we're taking a deep dive into mental illness and all the dynamics therein, and we are talking about alcohol and some of the drugs that people abuse and end up losing their mental sanity. I'm telling you, the man in the chair is a professional, and he's telling us, bringing us up close and personal with some of the effects and what you will become if you do not go slow on some of these drugs. But follow this very lovely discussion on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you like the page and then also comment. But these are the last 10 minutes of The Desk. Now you better sit back, relax, bear lean forward, or even stand up. Now, Gerald, we've been talking about alcohol, but before we even leave alcohol, so if I take a little portion and I don't abuse it, am I okay?
Yeah, you're not okay, because that's how now where we start. For example, let me take you briefly through the stages of alcoholism. You know, alcoholism is the disease that develops from taking alcohol. One, we have experimentation. You'll say, let me take one, and now the next morning it will be the continuous. We have experimentation, then we shall have the social use, or social use. You know, most of the youth, when they go for parties, house parties, hostels, they now tend to take these drugs. Then from there, we shall look at tolerance. In tolerance, briefly, I'll explain tolerance. Like, for example, if you used to get high on one bottle, you'll find that this one bottle is now not working. You need now to double these bottles. You need two in order to get high. So tolerance is also another stage of alcoholism. Then now here, dependency. You find that a person who used to say, let me try one, or a person who used to take only on occasions or on parties, you find now themselves taking on a daily basis, and they cannot live without alcohol. So those are the stages of alcoholism.
Right. So because our time is really really fast spent, we would like to know, maybe in a summary, you list for us some of the drugs that people are abusing and they don't even have an idea.
Okay, some of the drugs people are abusing, we have marijuana, we have cat, I think that is the mairunji, we have this alcohol. Some other people abuse diazepam. Diazepam is a sleeping pill, and most people say that they lack sleep, and then now they take this diazepam in high doses, and then they find themselves being addicts of that drug. We have pethidine, we have aviation fuels. There are very many drugs.
But how do these guys access? Because if you talk about aviation fuels, you're talking about diazepam. These are things that are supposed to be kept, under lock and key. How do we have our youths, our sons and daughters, accessing these things?
Shedrack, I'm telling you, it's a syndicate of people. These drugs, you'll find themselves. Okay, I don't know, I may not tell you, but I just tell you that you find these drugs coming out from where they're supposed to be kept safely, but being vended on streets by these people, and they're expensive drugs. You find that people, and surprisingly, it's these children of the rich families, in fact, they get access to these drugs. Reason being, they have the money to get the drugs.
Yeah.
They have everything. They have the connections. And when they get them, now they supply them to now to these other children.
Are you saying that the rich kids are the major suppliers?
They are not the they are not the major suppliers. They are not the major suppliers, but they are at a high advantage of getting these expensive drugs.
Because
For example,
now that changes the narrative, Gerrald, that we have known. We have known drugs to be in ghettos.
yes, and now okay, now what I was now trying to explain is,
Yeah.
I had a client, I had a client. This client was of a big person, which I'm not going to mention.
Yeah.
But this girl could not get, okay, this girl could not get access to these drugs, but he had a friend to a father, and this friend now could get these drugs for this girl. But just because, you know, these drugs need company to take them, you need to have friends. This girl now could move to the ghetto to go and get these friends to take these drugs with, and then they enjoy. So you find that in doing so, drugs came from high, and now they are going to in the ghetto. That is how now they are going. Just because now our time is not.
Yeah. And because our time is past spent, I think you need to read out your numbers and where people can find you, in case people need, you know, to get more of this, because we can't exhaust it in the 30 minutes of
okay. I'm on MTN 0785 10 9865, and that one is on WhatsApp. Then Airtel is 0701 28 63 72.
You want to do them again? Just do them again.
0785 10 98 65 and 0701 28 63 72. I work with Dine Pharmacy and Laboratory in Chijabijo, Kalaji Road, just after Gayaza, then opposite Nampogo Primary School. Then besides that, I'm attached to rehabilitation centers. If, like, for example, there is a client outside there who cannot go, or who cannot go to Butabika, or who cannot go to any mental unit in different parts of the country, you can contact me, and then I direct you to very good rehabilitation centers, and you get all these services.
So Gerrald, under 30 seconds, what are your last remarks?
My last remarks is, please, parents and even individuals, let's be responsible for our lives. Drugs are not good. If you suffer from mental illness, trust me, you're not doomed, but your life will not be the same like how it was. In 30 minutes, let me give you an example. I'm even going to whisper it. Let me tell you, Shadrach, if you have HIV and you're working in a very big office, trust me, you're going to remain there working for some good time. But break down today, you will not sit there.
I am telling you, mental experts here have diagnosed, and they have taken studies, and they have statistical evidence to back up whatever they are saying. So if you're still arguing and you're saying, those guys are just saying on TV, I'm telling you, my brother, my sister, by the time you realize to seek for help, it will be too late. But it's better late than never. He's read his numbers. You can reach out. Get help if you need to get help. Don't let it escalate. There's still a chance for a better Uganda, because remember, we are the youths. We're the leaders of tomorrow. As you're complaining for the old people to get out of office, it's imperative that you stay healthy. By the time they leave office, you are a very healthy young man and you're a very healthy young woman. But from me and the entire 24 management, we'd like to say good night, good luck, adios for God and my country. May the good Lord bless this beautiful Uganda. Now until next week, same place, same time, and of course, same host. Good night.